Hey Gearfax friends, welcome back, and particularly welcome to Michael Seymour, who sent me a request to do up a bit of a tutorial about the Boss Micro BR, which is an amazingly capable machine for its size, but it is very tightly engineered, and as a result it can be a little bit hard to navigate. The fact that it's got such an incredibly reflective surface is not particularly helpful for videoing, but anyway, I'll do my best. I might leave it back at a bit of an angle like that. Now, I don't claim to have a comprehensive knowledge about all of the inner workings of this machine, so what I'm going to show you is just everything that I use it for and everything that I know about it. First of all, I guess the place where you're generally going to start is with the utility button. Here you'll find your song, track, undo, initialize, and some other options too. You can cycle through more options by pressing the left and right cursor buttons here. So if you're ever not sure what's going on, press left and right and just see what other options that you've got. You'll find that there is a little cursor, very hard to see, but in the word off here you'll see a little line just under that F. Makes it look like an E actually, but that's actually a cursor, and that denotes that we can change this value. So in any of these left and right positions I can use plus and minus here to change whatever value. Here we're changing the LCD contrast, so you see I'll lower that and we lose contrast. Raise it and it gets brighter. Anyway, the point is, keep scrolling left and right, look at the different settings that you have. Here's the power save screen, so I can change that to the amount of time it waits before it shuts down after no activity. Utility is like your main menu, okay? So if we go into song, for example, you will see that you've got 4 options here divided by little dotted lines. Each of those options corresponds to one of the track buttons at the bottom here. So for song, for example, we'd go into that menu by pressing the track button underneath song, and here we can select from our list of songs that we've already made. We can create a new song, we can see info about a song and rename as well. Let's keep scrolling to the right. We also have erase, copy, and we're starting to get into options here that I really don't know anything about, so sorry about that, Mick. If you want to know more about that, you're going to have to download the manual, mate. Anyway, really you'll only choose options from this main part of the song edit menu. Anyway, let's exit back up, and we're back in the main utility menu now. Second one is track. Here you'll find the copying, moving, erasing, exchanging features. So under copy, for example, you can pick values under time here. For example, you could speed through to the 5th to the 9th bar and copy it from the 10th onwards. Or you can operate by time as well. I'll show you a bit more about that in a moment. Exiting again, and go right back to the main utility menu again. There's undo any of your last operations there. I'm not sure how many levels of undo you get, but again, have to go to the manual for that one. Main utility menu, and initialize. We can initialize the SD card there if there's no important data left that we need to keep. It's a nice, quick, easy formatting function. Let's exit right back to the main menu where you'll see the time, and across the top there we're looking at the bar numbers there, so number of bars, number of beats, and I think they call these clicks in here, something like that. There's our tempo, and once again we can use our cursor buttons. You see that little cursor jumping around there? It's quite hard to spot, and without being shown or told you might not even know it's there. But once again, if I have a song going and I want to skip to the first minute, for example, I'm now 1 minute into the song by pressing that plus button there. And conveniently, it'll show me what bar I'm in and what beat of that bar I'm in as well. Let's go to 2 minutes. Yep, and I'm at 61st bar now on the first beat. So I can navigate very easily to any part of the song. And changing the tempo, just use that cursor control again, and I can raise that tempo. Let's go right back to main. Oh, we are on main, of course, because we're looking at the time. Another function I find I use a lot is the input function. All of the high resolution recordings I've done for Gearfax are routed through the line in, which is the tiny 3.5mm, where is it? There it is, yes, 3.5mm stereo socket there. It really gives amazing sound quality. The clarity and general sound pickup is of a very high standard, and for such an unassuming machine it's really quite surprising. If, however, I wanted to record guitar, we've got a standard 6mm jack there, and press the track button, which is underneath the guitar option. Remember, we have our 4 options in most menus. Press our track button underneath to pick that option. So we are now routing sound through the guitar socket, which is the bigger one right there. Another setting I often change at this point too is to go into the effects button, this little button down the side here, and that will take us straight to the effects menu where we can choose effects. Look for your cursor again, it's under preset number 1 there, so I can go through the various presets, or I can click over to the P and change over to the user settings and choose different ones. Can click under edit to edit, and once I've edited something I can write it and rename the effect as well. So it has a whole multi-effect system built in. However, if I'm recording one of my demos for GearFacts, usually I'll switch the effects section off entirely, because the chances are I'm using an effect of some kind anyway, and I want to present that to my viewers as a true reflection of what that device sounds like. So I don't want to be doubling up on effects inside the microBR. Even if it's just a bit of reverb or something like that, I don't want that. I just want to record what my external effects unit is producing. So that's the way you override effects there. Let's turn them back on and we'll do a bit of editing. The first option is to choose the guitar amp type, so we can click on that. We can turn the main effect on or off, once again plus minus buttons, and also you'll see the little arrow here which indicates again you can use your cursor to go through the various options under preamp. So you can see we're still in the preamp menu up here, and we're flicking through a range of options. And again, it's quite surprising for something as small and compact as the microBR. Let's exit back, and we're back in our effects edit page. Speaker cabinet type, exactly the same. We can have speaker cabinet on or off, and then by pressing to the right we can look through the various parameters of that effect. Exit there. Next one is noise suppressor, which is quite straightforward. There are no big surprises in the actual options for each effect. What I'm showing you here is just how to navigate your way through them. FX is actually a modulation section, so we've got our modulation effects on, and the type is a phaser, and we've got tremolo, flanger, chorus, all our old friends. And let's keep going. Again, we're in the master effects editing page here, but there is still more. We've got a delay section as well. Delay is switched off, and you can see that because it's in lowercase here. So I'll click the track number underneath, and yes, sure enough, it is switched off. So let's change that to on, and now we have some delay, and by clicking to the right we can look at some parameters. There are a few different kinds of delay here too. Tap delay, single. I thought there was a panning delay, but it looks like I was mistaken. And delay time, feedback, effect level. No surprises, just good, usable, reasonable quality effects. Let's go back to the main menu again. All the way back to the top. This is our master screen. Just going back to this input button again, I should also point out that it does have an onboard microphone, this little grill right here. So you can activate that by clicking on mic. We talked about line, which is our 3mm jack, guitar, which is our 6mm jack. External, I've got to be honest with you, I don't know what external is. That's something that we'll have to look up. Back to the main screen. Now with our microphone on, you'll see that as I tap it here, you can see the meter moving up and down. That's the output meter. You've got your headphones plugged in the side here, or your monitor speakers or something, because this is the line out. That's all you've got, just one 3.5mm socket for line out. That's monitoring how much power is coming out of there. On the other side, you'll see a meter for, well, a warning I should say. That little square that comes up, you probably wouldn't have seen it there because it's too small, but it's actually saying the word over. So the input signal is just too high. Generally with the microphone it's pretty hard to make this happen, but when you're using the line in or the guitar input, it's quite easy to create a situation where there is too much input, so it's good to have that warning too. As you adjust the level, you will see the input power there as well. And you only see that as you're actually adjusting the level. So as I talk or tap it, ooh, yep, you can see the little meter coming in there, and that was going over. Sorry if there was too much reflection there, guys, but yeah, like I said, there's that little meter there. I think you're getting a better view of that now. Not a particularly great example when you're only talking into the microphone. If you've got a more powerful source of sound coming in, you'll see a lot more activity on this side. I'll just quickly run you through a few features that I don't usually use. The first is the rhythm section. Right next to your effects button on the bottom left there, we have rhythm. There are a great many rhythms to choose from in here, or I should say there are many parts within a selection of about 80 rhythms, I think it is. But each rhythm has a couple of fills, a finish, an intro, and a break. You'll find that there are literally hundreds to go through. I'll just hold down the button here and see how far it goes. I think it goes up to about 500. So that's including all the fills and breaks and everything like that. Like I said, there's something like 50 to 80 different styles. And I believe there are 8 different drum kits to choose from. So if you want to play R&B, there's no reason why you can't adjust that by pressing the kit button here to use a different kind of kit. So I think we've got 808s. Yep, there's 808. A reggae kit, house kit, hip hop, jazz, hard. Sorry, once again the reflection wasn't doing you any favors there. Standard kits. So there's our list of kits, and any of the rhythms can be played through any of those kits. It's more of a guide. It's better than a metronome, but it's not quite as good as a dedicated drum machine, and it's certainly not as good as a competent drummer. But you can structure a song using this system here. The middle button is the arranger part of it, and I've got to be honest, I've never really delved into the arranger. It seems a little complex, and it's just not something I need. Next button along at the bottom left here is the MP3 button. It's just changing mode here. What it was doing there is looking for MP3 files on the SD card that I've installed. Sure enough, I don't have any of them, but basically what it is showing us there is that it's capable of being used as an MP3 player, as simple as that. Exiting back to main menu again. I have to turn MP3 off first. Exiting back to main, oh, it takes us straight back to main menu. Okay, no worries. So if I want to record a track, let's assume I want to record my voice through the microphone, press record. Now it's just prepped and ready to go. It's not actually recording immediately, so it's just like the old cassette recorder style. You press record first, then you press play. So that's actually recording my voice now, and you see the timer. I'm going to go into utility, click on undo, and undo, yes. That'll restore everything the way it was before. I can rewind to the beginning of my track by just holding down the rewind button. Or, if I'm quite far into the song, I can hold down the stop button and click rewind, and that'll take me right back to 0. Okay, so what I've covered there is probably about 60% of its features. We talked about the utility button, which is our main menu selector, the way to select submenus using the track buttons, changing the input, controlling our values using these 2 buttons here, controlling our cursor position using these 2 buttons, and then our 3 sort of sub-functions that it has, the effect system, the rhythm system, and the MP3 player system. So I hope that's a good start for you guys who are trying to understand the Micro BR. I know I've said it many times before, but it is a brilliant tool for its size. It's so incredibly ergonomic. Battery power or adapter power, 1 stereo in, 1 mono in for the guitar, and 1 stereo out. It really is a very versatile thing, and it records really, really high quality. To switch off, you just hold down the power button for about 2 seconds, and it'll save everything that you've done.